This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
PlayStation Pop Experience. The ride is almost over here with this incredible first season of another show that we are covering. We just wrapped up Book of Boba Fett, and due to some scheduling issues, we are doing the last two episodes of Peacemaker in one episode. So we'll be covering episode 7, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, first, and then we'll be later on talking about the season finale. It's Cow or Never. But in the meantime, let's introduce everybody and say who's here. I'm Andy Atherton, by the way, and thank you all for listening. And the full crew is here together. We had to make this work because everybody's enjoyed it so much, and it was just wouldn't be right if all four of us weren't here. So let's start off introducing Shawn Kidd. Hey, Shawn.
Hey, good evening, Andy. Kind of a sad moment for us. We just ended with Boba Fett, which wasn't necessarily as sad as Peacemaker for me. So kind of a little sad moment tonight, but happy to be here to talk about the end of the show, or the end of the season, as we found out this week. Spoiler alert. So, yep.
Yeah. Boba Fett had ups and downs and did end on a up note, but Peacemaker has been, knocking it out of the park from the get-go. Scott Shifflett is here. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Andy. Hey, Shawn. Is there any way we could just pull 4 episodes from Boba and just add it to Peacemaker so I can have that for another month?
Man, I wish this was a 13-episode season. Waiting another year. Well, anyway, we'll get into it.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly, Shawn.
Yeah.
And, of course, rounding out the group, the Tim Capel.
Yeah, man. I mean, just think about those kind of bloated Netflix Marvel shows from back in the day. Like, you'd get 13 episodes of Daredevil a season, and don't get me wrong, I'm not calling that a bad show, but it was definitely by episode 10 you're going, do we really need 13 episodes of this? Give me 36 episodes of Peacemaker. Yes. I don't think we would ever feel that bloat when it came to a show like this, which, I mean, even if they're just farting around, calling each other assholes and
blowing shit up in the woods.
Blowing shit up in the woods. I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Watch it all day.
Yeah, even if they're going to the store just to hang out with these guys.
Peacemaker goes to the store. Yeah. I think I'll be entertained by that.
Yeah, give us some shorts, HBOmax. Come on, this is gold that we're spouting out here. Jesus. All right, so we're talking about episode 7 once again. Stop Dragging My Heart Around. I love these titles, by the way. There's some very great play on words here. So we go straight to the heart of the pain and supervillain Peacemaker's life. It opens with him reflecting on his origin story, the moment he accidentally killed his brother Kevin. And as we watch in some emotional scenes from when he was young Christopher and his brother rock out to hair metal together before taking part in a fight spurred on by their father, who's taking bets over which of his sons will beat the other up. Your real Dad of the Year candidate there. Unfortunately for Peacemaker, one wrong punch results in his brother having a seizure and dying, resulting in his dad blaming him for the deed, even though he was the one who put the boys up to the fight. Peacemaker is still distraught by the ordeal to this day, understandably, but he decides to put the trauma aside and head out with Vigilante and Economos so they can handle the impending butterfly threat and the police chief, who has now turned on them. So, Shawn, what do you think of the start of the episode?
So one of the things we talk about with this show is, one, how fun it is, the comedy, the fight scenes, et cetera, et cetera. I would say this is probably one of the most emotionally intense things they've had on this show, and really a heartbreaking scenario here where, you could tell he was really close with his brother, and then you have this asshole father with his little Klansmen, and they have this little pit outside where they live, and they're taking bets on the fight and everything, and lo and behold, it's an accident where Chris, or Peacemaker, so to speak, gets a punch in, and his brother has a seizure, and his brother dies, and his son of a bitch father just blames him for it the rest of his life. There's something in this that I don't really understand, and maybe you guys can help me with as you guys speak. if he's really that pissed off and he's upset with his son about what happened to his brother, I don't understand why he was making the helmets for him. I'm lost in that a little bit, but really a heartbreaking scene here, which kind of sheds some light on why Peacemaker is who he is and why his relationship with his father is strained and why emotionally he's just a train wreck. But really powerful opening scene here, I thought.
I think his father is doing it to still have some sort of control over him. I think,
Yeah, maybe. I just thought it was a little odd. It's just 0 to 60. 1 minute he's building helmets for him and he still hates him for killing his son. But I guess at the end of the day, when his son sends him to prison and he thinks his son did that to him, now it's time to go kill him. I just thought that was a little odd. But that's the only real pet peeve I have. But other than that, it's great. So,
all right. Scott, what do you think of the start?
Yeah, I agree with actually what you said, Andy, about how his dad thinks he can still control him, keep him under his thumb, and with betraying him and thinking he's got him sent to prison, it's time to die. You've outused your use. So it's okay, we're going with this. Heartbreaking scene with that, because we had seen bits and pieces of what happened, but just seeing we see him waking up and it's obviously it's all he thinks about. It's probably when he falls asleep at night. But of course they had their comedic parts here where Economos, Peacemaker, and Vigilante head out and Vigilante's giving Peacemaker shit and he goes, I don't have a diary, but if I did, it would be a journal. And Vigilante's oh, so you journal now? And it just they're so stupid. And I don't really know what it says about me, but Vigilante is my favorite character this whole season. I don't really know what it says, but it's probably not something good. So if any psychologists out there, there you go. I'll send you the money. But no, it's just awesome. I love everyone's back and forth here, and it sets the stage because it definitely felt like we were coming up with some big things after the last episode of all the policemen looking for Peacemaker and his dad saying, I'm going to fucking kill my son. So it's definitely the threats are elevated now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tim, what do you think of the start?
I would definitely agree that there is some backstory between Chris and his father that we have not gotten to, and they're probably saving for subsequent seasons. I think it is a good interpretation that after all of this shit went down, Dad looked at it as, okay, well, I found the one thing you're good at. You're good at killing people, which certainly is probably not the takeaway that most parents would have from a situation like that. But we know Augie is a fucked up piece of shit sociopath. So that's what he ran with and decided, hey, I can really just remake my kid here in my own image. And I guess for whatever reason, he's super adept at developing all this advanced weaponry and technology. And this is a way of controlling his son and probably furthering his own career and aspirations through his son. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the brother who dies, that's the older brother, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you definitely got the impression as well that the older kid was like the apple of his father's eye. He didn't really have much use for his younger son. So, he's putting him to work basically. These scumbags are paying money to watch two little kids fist fight in a pit. This is what we're dealing with. And when the older kid actually dies, it's like Augie can't possibly self-reflect and look at this as, this is an enormous failing as a father. This is my good for nothing son continuing to fuck up my life is the way that he's read this. So you know what? I'm gonna try to make the most of it here. Probably had plans for the older kid that were similar to what we ultimately see with Peacemaker, but he's trying to salvage that and sort of foist it on Chris now. Anyway, that's sort of my armchair psychology read on the whole history and situation that we're given. Such a great example of the show. doing what it does so well and giving you emotional whiplash, where it gives you these intensely personal moments that you really connect with on such a human level, but without undercutting it with like a dick joke, which I think is something that's really a struggle in things like this, where it's trying to make you laugh and cry at the same time. This is something I think the MCU does not get right on every outing. But this series is really willing to let those moments breathe, willing to let you take it in. And then next scene, we've got these guys yucking it up, or some kind of really slapstick situation that takes you to a completely different place. Really, really hard to walk that line, but the show does it. I kind of agree with Scott that Vigilante might be my favorite character. Not sure what that says about either of us. I don't know. I love his relationship with Chris. I love his stupid comments. I love his dopey glasses. I just really like that character.
All right. So the trio doesn't get very far because Augie, in his full white dragon costume, is determined to get revenge by killing his own son. He heads out with his white supremacist followers to stop Peacemaker in his tracks. Thanks to Vigilante's quick thinking by throwing a bomb at the white dragon and his cohort, Peacemaker and Economos are able to run away. They then realize that White Dragon and his followers tracked him down using a chip placed in Peacemaker's helmet, and they decide to tie it to a nearby raccoon to throw them off the scent. It works, and Peacemaker and Economos are able to find Vigilante, who stole one of the white supremacist cars and escaped. And Don't Close Your Eyes by Kix is playing, and I cannot believe I actually called that we were going to hear that song. Also, I have the show on right now, and in the captioning, some of these followers are racist thug and white hood wanker, according to here on the HBOmax. So I thought I'd add that in there for you guys. But Scott, what do you think of Augie's attack and Vigilante's quick thinking with the grenade?
Well, Augie, I didn't think that he would show up so quick in this episode. I thought it'd be like something at the very end. Maybe they get to the farm where they've been trying to get to, and like that's when he would show up, and we would have like a three-way dance to set up next the finale. That obviously wasn't the case. I thought Vigilante like sacrificed himself right there, and I was like, oh no, not Vigilante. Like, it's ridiculous how much I care about this about these characters. It did have a funny part with like Vigilante pissing in the woods, and you see his bare ass, and Economos is like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I don't like the clothes touching my body while I piss." So he's like a 3-year-old kid, like pants all the way down to his ankles as he's pissing, and it's just like it's him all the way, and I love it. But yeah, we get a pretty gnarly fight scene, which we'll get into more shortly with White Dragon, which. I'm not a white supremacist or anything, but that costume had a pretty cool look to it. So James Gunn is White Dragon. Like I'm not familiar with him. I'm not really familiar with Peacemaker because I know it really wasn't originally DC. It became DC later on. Is White Dragon something from the comics, or did they create that on their own?
No,
Tim
it's
or
in the
Shawn?
comics.
No,
Okay.
he is, but he's not Peacemaker's dad. There is a character called White Dragon who was associated with the Suicide Squad, and I believe he was a neo-Nazi, but he wasn't related to any of the other characters or anything, or I don't think he had any history with Peacemaker. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that was there.
Okay.
All right, Tim.
Yeah, this attack scene is awesome. I was similar to Scott, thinking we would probably get, more of a three-way dance in the finale. Somebody actually predicted, I think in our last episode, that we'd really be dealing with and wrapping up the Augie subplot in this penultimate episode, and that proves to be correct, as we're going to see. So that definitely surprised me that we really do resolve this situation here in this episode. But look, I'm no white supremacist either. Who thought that was a sentence I'd be saying?
It felt so odd coming off, but I was like, that's a pretty sick.
I'll, add that to the list of things you don't think you'll say on a Sunday night on a podcast, but this is who we are. But yeah, that White Dragon get up, that does some things I was not ready for. I was like, oh, he actually flies. Oh, he's got like energy blast. What is all this? He's like fucking Iron Man, straight up. Iron Man as a Nazi. This is terrifying. And yeah, this is going to lead to just a really cool sequence, just kind of a cat and mouse chase between the various factions. I kind of bit on the vigilante tease also. I mean, I didn't think they'd take him out just as suddenly as that plays out, but I mean, I've come to know that like you never know what you're going to get from this series. Like it's definitely not paint by numbers. It's not a cookie cutter type show where you sort of see it going through the plot motions. It really keeps you on your toes. So I was like, I'm not too sure, Vidge made it out of this one.
All right. Where was I? Shawn.
Yeah, Scott said the vigilante scene where he's pissing. It's like Scott said, he looks like a 3-year-old with his pants down around his ankles. I was dying laughing. It was just so. The guy is just like he just has no like. I guess he just has no reality of life whatsoever. He says what he wants. He does what he wants, and it's kind of inspiring a little bit because it kind of makes you want to be that way. But the pulling the pants down with his bare ass on the tree, I was dying. Absolutely dying. As far as the White Dragon stuff, absolutely awesome outfit. And I was like, Tim, holy shit, this guy can fly. And the whole time I'm watching this outfit, I'm thinking about to myself, this fat, overweight old man, Robert Patrick, stuffed in his freaking suit, looking like he's this freaking next second coming of Iron Man. And how just freaking ironic and bizarre that whole thing was, because there's just no way he was fitting in that suit. And I won't tell you, it didn't take me out whatsoever, but I'd be lying if I didn't tell you. I was laughing to myself a little bit thinking about that. So, yeah, good stuff. Love the suit.
All right. So Peacemaker doesn't make it that far before his dad and the white supremacists catch up with him, though he is forced to fight them off. The White Dragon pins Peacemaker down, beating him mercilessly and taunting him over his past and perceived slights, with Augie ultimately preparing to deliver the killing blow without a second thought. Luckily, Vigilante stops the White Dragon from killing his son by stabbing him through a gap in his armor. He just then gives Peacemaker the edge in their fight. Peacemaker manages to overpower his dad, and when he's taunted further, gets a gun and points it at him. You can't do it, Augie claims, telling his son that he's not man enough to pull the trigger. It says that he will always have power over him. It's the last thing he says, though, because Peacemaker does pull the trigger, killing his father instantly. So we get the one showdown we've been waiting for, Peacemaker and his dad. It was funny, too. When I saw White Wolf flying, I thought of that crappy rock movie Rampage based on that fun video game where he goes, of course, the wolf flies. That's kind of what my thoughts were. But Tim, what do you think of this final showdown? Well, Augie will be gone, but not he'll be dead, but not gone, so to speak.
Yeah. But
what do you think of this showdown we get here?
First of all, I had no idea the wolf flies in that movie. That's amazing.
That killed my my disbelief.
That movie sounds like a spectacular pile of shit. Wow.
It is popcorn chicken salad worthy.
Holy. Okay, so yeah, wow. Okay, so Vidge is not dead and makes a big contribution to the ultimate climactic showdown between Peacemaker and his father. I'm glad that it has this very violent, like, personal knockdown, drag out fight. That's like what it had to be between the two of them. Peacemaker does make the right call in the end. I will say I was a little bit disappointed that at no point did we see the Sonic the Sonic blast come into play again. Call me crazy, but I just wanted to see some Nazis get liquefied in the woods. I thought that would have been a tremendous scene. But in our finale, that Sonic blast will get some play. So when all is said and done, I was a pretty happy camper. I kind of wanted to see it in this episode because who doesn't want to see some Nazi guts get splattered all over the woods?
All right, Shawn.
Yeah, I forgot to mention on the last round, I thought it was pretty cool that the tracker they put on a raccoon. So I thought it was a nice little Guardians throwback there, if that's what they were going for. So I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah, this was pretty intense and pretty emotional, and the suddenness that Augie's just a son of a bitch. You can't do it. You're not man enough. And then, holy shit, he just does it and he shoots them, and it's just so sudden and it's over, and it's like it came out of nowhere. Like my wife and I were watching it, and it's like, holy shit, he just fucking killed his father. And it was like it was matter of factly, like no ifs, ands, or buts. And I kind of like that a little bit because I thought there'd be some stalling, there'd be some delay, and he didn't even hesitate. So absolutely powerful scene, and really closes out a chapter, at least for him, in terms of his father, and starting the episode with what they started with, and then coming to this. It just really, really good stuff here. And by the way, Cena is awesome in this, and Robert Patrick is just a true son of a bitch. So,
all right, Scott.
Yeah, I agree with what Shawn said, and also I have something also to add about the raccoon. We saw Cena's face, and it was like pristine, no cuts or anything. Then when we cut to when he's like, I got an idea, and his face is cut to shit because he fought the raccoon so he could put it on there. And I remember when I was watching it, I paused and I was like, did I fucking miss something? No, it was just amazing. He's like, who thought the fucking raccoons had such fight in them? And it's just like, oh my God, just absurd. And I do love, Vigilante has Peacemaker's back to the bitter end. He levels the playing field, and I didn't think it was going to be Peacemaker that did it. I didn't know if it was going to be Economos, because Economos doesn't fucking mow down some Nazis in a pretty badass scene. Like,
we should mention that. Yes, he just machine guns all of them.
And Vigilante's like, "Fuck yeah, man!" But it's just awesome, and it shows like the hold that we'll see more that Augie has over Peacemaker, because I didn't think he was going to do it, and he just fucking kills him right there in the middle of the road. And it's like, oh, well, that's one crisis taken care of, but like, what the hell are we going to do now type deal? Because this took up a lot of time in the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love also Economos. We're getting in the car and Eagly's just like pecking him in his big ass. So
he's like, crinkle up some potato chips. Who the fuck can do this? And then you see he finds some like potato chips thing. He's crinkling it up. It's just awesome.
All right. So as this is going on elsewhere in the episode, Harcourt finds Adebayo and questions her over planting a diary at Peacemaker's home. The argument leads Harcourt to realize that Adebayo is Amanda Waller's daughter, who put her up to the task in the first place. Harcourt are adjourned by Myrn, who tells them that they have to go after the cow, the source of the alien butterfly's food. They head over to regroup, leaving Myrn on his own, and the leader is then met by Detective Song and her fellow butterflies. Using a walkie-talkie, Myrn tells Harcourt and Adebayo it's up to them to find and kill the cow. This leads Song to realize that Myrn is also a butterfly. She shoots Myrn and also kills his butterfly self, telling her people that they have to go and move on the cow before Peacemaker and his group can find it. Harcourt and Adebayo return to the scene after they leave, and the former has an emotional farewell with Myrn in his butterfly form before he dies. Then they are attacked by Rey Mysterio, Judo Master. But after a tense fight with Harcourt, he is knocked out by Adebayo, who uses a taser to do so. So I didn't mention it already, but Judo Master does get a little more shine here with a couple of dickheads that show up to a liquor store, and he's just sitting there eating his Flamin' Hot Cheetos, not bothering nobody, and they kind of dicks to him, and he kicks their asses, steals their car. That's how he gets over here. So Shawn, we get this was all going on while the whole Augie stuff is. Just chose to cover it this way. What do you think of Harcourt? Basically giving Adebayo the shit, and then Myrn making the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, so much happens here. So Harcourt and Adebayo is great, but Myrn making the ultimate sacrifice here, and it's kind of another heartbreaking scene where basically he in his butterfly form he just dies, which was almost more impactful, I think, than the actual human side of him dying, because it's just I can't explain it. I just thought that that was just a little more of a connection in terms of who he was, and being one of these creatures, the butterflies, and sacrificing himself to make sure that we're doing the right thing to stop them from what their master plan is. But yeah, really, really good stuff here. And again, we've lost our second major character of the show now with Myrn, and then Peacemaker's father at this point. Judo Master, I'm not, and you might shoot me for saying this, I don't think Judo Master is really necessary in this show, because at the end of the day, what is he at? And that might be a shit take, but I think the show would just be just as good without him. Maybe we'll find out more about him next season or whatever, but I just feel like he's kind of there, and I don't know. He doesn't do much for me, so I don't really think he's necessary. But yeah, all around good stuff as we continue the journey to, one, find out what the cowl is and go after it and kill it.
Yeah. I think, Judo Master, you think he was going to be much more than he was, but he just kind of turns out to be like a little bit of a thorn in the side at times, I guess. I mean, cool character. I mean, I would like to have seen more.
What purpose does it serve? It's almost like Boba Fett in his own series. It's kind of like, why is he here? So
just can't not take shots at Boba Fett.
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, if you pull him out, does it make a difference? Yeah, a little bit maybe, but I see what you're saying. Like he didn't do enough to warrant as his involvement. All right, Scott, what do you think of this stuff here?
Well, Myrn's death, I did not see coming at all, and it was, like Shawn said, kind of heroic, because he radios to Hardcore and was like, I loved serving with you guys, as the cops just unload on his ass. And Myrn also was like, of course I knew it was Waller's daughter. You didn't think I was going to do a background check on her, which I think is pretty funny. It's like everyone was like keeping these secrets that were like they thought were secrets, but they weren't. So that was nice. Yeah, Judo Master whooping those people's ass. And then, he gives a thumbs up to the guy working in the store who saw them, getting picked on. Because, oh, look at the little leprechaun. It's a little late for St. Patrick's Day. And, he just beats the shit out of these, just frat bros. And, then we see that Hardcore can really handle her own self, because she takes an ass kicking from Judo Master. And, they're pretty much to a draw. And then Adebayo comes in with a taser and was like tases the shit out of him. Probably stopped his heart, because I don't know if we see this man again until the end of the next episode. And I was like, damn, that's how they kill him? It's just tased him for 45 seconds. And then we didn't mention this, but Eagly got hurt during the fight when that's when I knew White Dragon had to die, when he bitch smacked Eagly, and Peacemaker was like, how fucking dare you?
All right. Tim?
Yeah, the show makes you feel things, not just for idiot sidekick superhero wannabe characters like Vigilante. Makes you feel things for pet eagles, and makes you feel things for CGI butterflies in their dying moments. How is it possible? I'm with Shawn and thinking that the Myrn death scene was very affecting, and it's a real bummer seeing him go out. As a character who I think won all of us over, sort of unexpectedly. I mean, we've really gotten to know all of the characters here within this team, and we've all got a great deal of affection for them too. And Myrn is making the sacrifice here, the sacrifice play. And I guess it's one thing to see, it's in a way, he's the person that Myrn was before. He's this horrible, murdering, amoral dickhead. That guy's already gone. That guy's already dead and has been replaced by, the butterfly, which is, has a completely different personality and motivation, certainly. And it's just the way that when the butterfly actually leaves, the body behind and just looks so mangled and fragile. It's like everything that Myrn, the character, as we knew him, could just be held in Harcourt's hands like that, and to see her so distraught by it as well, it really gets that across, I think, to the audience, because she's been such a hard ass character, like, and that's another thing that I love about this show. I think a lot of media makes the mistake of taking a character who's like, oh, such a badass, and what that means is they have no emotions. They're just this like cold-blooded machine. But really, that's not what that means, and that's not a way to connect the character to the audience. It's when that exterior actually falls, and they do show some vulnerability, as Harcourt does in this scene, that you're like, okay, I now get who they are as a person, and I'm invested in them as the character they are in the show, and it's done really beautifully here. I kind of agree with Shawn on the judo master thing. Like, I don't know, it seemed like, Andy mentioned, it seemed like he had more plot significance when he was first introduced. You're sort of waiting for that other shoe to drop, as far as him revealing some really pertinent piece of information, and it just kind of never happens. He sort of played as comedy relief, and at the end of the day, I was left thinking, my thoughts towards Judo Master were much like when DX called Owen Hart a stinky, stanky nugget that you just can't flush down the toilet, no matter how many times you try. That's what Judo Master sort of is to this show. Just he just constantly comes back around and is going to make life difficult for our gang here. But
I am not a nugget.
Yeah, he's just like a little thorn in the side, basically.
He is a nugget, and I mean, it's entertaining in small doses. I'm glad we didn't, overdo that, I guess, because that's a real risk you can run with that sort of character. But I don't know. It's sort of like, is he going to be back in another season? I guess maybe he could join up with them, although they were rather at odds, given where everything stands at the end of our finale, that you will no doubt be stay tuned for.
All right. So the team regroups at a local veterinary office as they wait for Eagly to recover from his injuries after being caught in a crossfire at the fight with the White Dragons. After Eagly pulls through, the group decides that Harcourt should lead the mission following Myrn's death. She gives them a rousing pep talk about their most difficult task yet: find and kill the cow before the butterflies can move it. The episode ends with Detective Song and her fellow butterflies arriving at the underground bunker that they've been keeping the cow, and viewers finally get to see a glimpse at the monstrosity that Peacemaker has to stop. And it is a monstrosity. It is gross. Like, it kind of looks like Chet in Weird Science at the end. But just more ginormous.
When she turns into a pile of shit.
I also love that the vets are ready to take the guns and join the fight, but they're like, no, we have to tie you up and sequester your vehicle. Sorry, Scott, what did you think of the end of the episode where they they regroup at the vet office and Harcourt takes the lead and we get the reveal of what this fucking cow looks like?
Well, the cow, I was not expecting it. I just was expecting some normal cow blown up to 200 feet, not this slug. Yeah, the slug-looking monstrosity. We see Eagly and Peacemaker hug again, which I thought was amazing. And it snaps Adebayo out that she has to help, and she calls her wife and was like, we got to finish this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, damn, all right, this is where we're going. And then we have one of the funnier moments of the thing with, of course, with Vigilante, where he's like, all right, guys, it's nothing personal. I have to kill him now. And then they're like, we can just tie him up. And they're like, we just have tape. And Economist goes, but Vigilante's like, it'll hurt the skin. And Economist goes, so you're compassionate about tape, but not brutally murdering people? And Vigilante just says yes. And And like then we see like hardcore take over and everything, and like even like the vets were like, all right, we're ready to go with you. They're like, no, you'll get killed. Please stay here. And they're all leaving. And it's like those are a good group of people, except for that guy in the mask. He's a fucking dick, and like it's just awesome. And it like it sets the stage. Last episode, we're gonna have this giant showdown, which that they've sort of set up during the season, but really amped it up with that with the butterflies taking over all the cops and the prisoners while like that monster song was played, which James Gunn, like, I don't know if there's an Oscar for like having the awesome music during movies and TV shows. He should win it for this because it was awesome. And also, my personal thoughts, John Cena should be nominated for an Oscar or an Emmy, whatever it is, for a role in a limited series. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth because, as Sean knows, we saw him in Total Bellas where he was Robo Cena, the biggest fucking heel in the whole show with no personality, and it shines through here. It's so, like, he carried this episode from killing his dad to Eagly being hurt to him, like, still being upset with Adebayo, which you see more of it in the next episode. I never thought, that JBL is poopy motherfucker would be just killing it and possibly the best wrestler turned actor that we have going right now.
All right, let's not give him an Oscar yet. All right, so I mean, he has shown more range, I think, than any of them. Like, The Rock is The Rock. No matter what movie he's in or show, he's The Rock. Little variants here and there, but that's what you get. Cena has really shown some real acting chops here. That's kind of different. Like The Rock, you can say he's an actor, but he's really a movie star. Cena has shown that
he's an action star. I get what Scott's saying about Cena, because I mean, you look at, like, when I watch this show, I forget that John Cena is a wrestler. I see John Cena as an actor with a lot of range, so I totally get what Scott's saying.
Yeah, I get it too. That's what I was trying to say. And Big Dave though is coming along as me and Criscola talked about when we watched Guardians. How Dave is there too. I mean, it's not no longer The Rock. It's not there alone. He's got company. They're all kind of finding their way, and this is just inspired casting to put this guy here, chocolate and peanut butter, getting together, so to speak. Tim, what do you think of the end of the episode?
Yeah, I kind of think there's no comparing the two. If you get into a Rock Cena thing, it's as much as I really like The Rock as a performer and like as a personality, I'm sorry, but his movies are shit, garbage, trash. Like 9 out of 10 times. They just really, because he just does anything, right? He just does any movie that needs a big star because that's what he brings to his projects. But I find most of them just utterly like unwatchable, even on a sliding scale. With Cena, I kind of think that maybe John Cena really is just that guy from Total Divas or Total Bellas or whatever, where he's sort of this programmable Terminator, where it's just he's sort of a blank slate in his personal life, but you can take him and program him to do whatever it is you need him to do for whatever whether it's a TV show, movie, wrestling, doesn't matter. And it's like he not only gets it right away, he kills it right away. He's just that good, and just point him in the right direction and you'll get exactly what you want out of the dude. He's sort of amazing and has really been a revelation here. I will just say that they've kind of built up this reveal of the cow over the course of a couple of episodes, or what feels like a couple of episodes. And so when they actually do give you that money shot at the very end, you're thinking, well, is this going to live up to the hype? I am certainly thinking it's going to be some kind of gross creature, but I don't know what it is. And I just hope that it's something that is worth, all of these, kind of hushed cutaways and lines about how, ominous the cow is going to be. And oh my God, it takes a lot to shock me. I mean, it really does take a lot to shock me, especially when it comes to special effects. But when they showed this thing, I almost vomited in my mouth. I mean, it was gut churning. It was just disgusting. The most disgusting creature effect that I have seen in some time. And that just feels like all James Gunn. That is such a James Gunn thing. He knew what the hell he was doing there. I love it.
Kind of a brain bug vibes there. Right?
I want more creatures to make me feel sick to my stomach and really uncomfortable. And that's what this did. I don't want it to be funny. I want it to make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it did. Oof, it was gross.
And the eyes, it had so many eyes. It was like a spider in some ways. Oh, God. Just horrifying. Horrendous.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things I didn't mention was like, when they're heading out to the cow, Economos is rocking out, and he's like, there's no wrong time or bad time to rock, and you get a smile at a hardcore. And
got one over,
yeah, and Shawn appreciated it. I thought the vet tech was the female vet was kind of a little hotchy there. But what did you think at the end of the episode, Shawn?
Here we go.
No, I'm not going there. She was attractive. It's fine. Tim, comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Starship Troopers, Queen Bug, or the cow?
Yeah, I mean, really, I have to go back to something like that. The last time I saw a creature effect, especially if it's sort of the same idea, right? Where it's like this slug and sort of slug bug. I don't know what else to call it. That it just feels wrong. Like it shouldn't exist and it can't exist. And like this is what hell is basically.
Yeah. When they saw her talking about the cow, I had a feeling it was gonna be something super grotesque. I mean, you knew it. So for me, when I go back to my most grotesque, I can't stop thinking about the bug in Starship Trooper.
It's a good comparison.
Big, like crotch mouth and slobbering, and so this one's pretty comparable to that. So pretty horrifying. Here's the thing James Gunn is so really good at. Like when it comes to superhero movies, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's superheroes. He is really good about bringing out the characteristics of the human side of the superheroes. Like he has done such a great job in this show. If you go back and think about Suicide Squad, even then, like even though he had a bunch of, you had a bunch of different people in the show, there's only so much you could do in a movie, right? In terms of bringing out the characteristics and everything. He has really done a great job piecing together, these people, this team, these individuals as. I don't see him as heroes necessarily, but I see him as people. And that's what he's done a really good job with. The Eagly scene where the Eagly is hugging Peacemaker and the vet, God damn it, man, that fucking hit me home too. It's like he knows how to go from one end of the spectrum to the other. He can do action, he can do comedy, he can hit you with the feels. Like he's just such a master of just crafting that with a hell of a great background of music, which in the finale really comes together in the end of it. But this is a great end to episode 7 that sets up the finale. And when I watched episode 7, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see how this pans out. So just another great episode of Peacemaker.
Yeah, that thing is like a giant Pokemon gone wrong. Something. I mean, I agree. I thought it was just. I think they were calling it a cow because I'm like, this is gonna be some giant ass thing that they're gonna milk. That's right. It's going to be some giant creature with teats, and we got that exactly. So,
I mean, I knew it was going to be something gross. I didn't think it would truly be able to shock me in the way that it did, because I kind of thought I was past that, especially to Shawn's point after something like Starship Troopers, where it's like, all right, I think we've peaked on how grotesque our bug effects can get in fiction.
All right, so that's going to end our coverage of the penultimate episode. But we're going to take a short break because we are pulling double duty on this episode of Pop Goes to the Couch. We're going to talk about the season finale. It's Cow or Never. So with Shawn Kidd, Scott Shifflett, and Tim Capel, I'm Andy Atherton. Stick around. Peacemaker coverage. We'll be right back.
never hassle me because I'm unemployed. If I sleep all day, don't get annoyed. Then I know that you really, 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 really love me. If you really, really love me. If you really, truly want to make me feel nice. Make it so I don't...
All right, PlayStation Pop Experience. We are back doing double duty here on the last 2 episodes of Peacemaker Season 1. We just finished up our coverage of Episode 7, the penultimate episode, as the kids like to say on the streets, and we are now on the season finale. It's Cal or never. So it really just picks up where we left off. It opens up quite literally where Peacemaker is still upset with Leota for planting evidence on him on orders of her mother, Amanda Waller. Rather than hearing Adebayo's apology, Peacemaker prefers to make fart noises every time she talks, much to Vigilante's amusement. But some of what she says does get through to him. He shouldn't define himself by the death of his brother. They arrive close to the barn where the butterflies are hiding the cow, and the team try and make a game plan for their mission, with Adebayo asking her mother for backup, and the group figuring out which of Peacemaker's helmets they can use in their attack. Unfortunately, some of the helmets get lost in the process of their decision-making, since the anti-gravity one floats away and eagerly drops the sonic boom helmet in the forest rather than on top of the barn. So, hot open here. We pick up where we left off. We get them trying to figure out what's going on, and a little bit of a comedy of errors here. Tim, what do you think of the opening of the show?
The opening has some tremendous comedy with Peacemaker and Vigilante just making the fart noises. In some ways, even scooping up the farts and throwing them in Adebayo's direction. I just watched it back, actually, and I was dying. But yeah, we're not missing a beat. We're going to find the cow, and I guess we've got a little bit of downtime on the road, so it gives us these wonderful little character moments. I also enjoyed seeing Adebayo on the phone with Amanda Waller being like, "Send in the Justice League." Yes, I'm serious. It's like, this is only she can talk to Waller, as you know, daughter to mother, essentially. Nobody else is gonna be able to get through to her. So we'll see if that works out. And yeah, then the stuff in the woods once we get there. Of course, Eagly is going to drop the sonic boom helmet because he's an eagle. He's not going to know what you're telling him. So yeah, it's quite the shambles here, just in our early goings, and we see that our team here, our heroes, really have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, you never thought helmets were going to be so important. His whole
and of course,
menagerie.
the anti-grav one.
Yeah, I guess his helmets are what Penguin's umbrella is like. Kind of.
He's and I love how he goes, "Did you say anti-gravity close to it?" And she's like, "No." It's like, bullshit, you did, as it's just fucking floating up in the air. It was awesome.
All right, Sean, what do you think of the start of the episode?
Yeah, great start. My younger, I rewatched this again this morning. My youngest was sitting there, and obviously it's childish humor, but during the farting stuff, my kid was dying. Like, he could not stop laughing every time. And to Tim's point, what popped me was when they're sitting there and throwing the farts at her. It's just amazing. It's such infantile great shit.
So stupid.
It is so stupid, but it was great. See, Chris, Peacemaker's belief that Eagly is this great creature that understands him, and then all of a sudden the hope is he flies up with the helmet, and then he just curves and he drops into the woods. I mean, this is just like, hey, this is going to be the end of the world, and they're going to transport this bug, but let's just have Eagly pick up this helmet and just drop it in the woods and just make it even harder.
Don't they even play like a sweeping, triumphant little underscore when Eagly takes off with the helmet? It's like, oh, he's going to do it. Dope.
And you're rooting for Eagly. They get you in that moment where you, oh my God, Eagly's going to do it, and then of course it's just so good. It keeps the narrative of this show just being absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, this just a great opening, and I just can't even explain how much that I love this show. That how it just interjects the humor, the seriousness. It's just like they go from one end of the spectrum within seconds, and this opening was a great example of that. So just good stuff.
Yeah, activating anti-gravity. You can't fucking say that shit. And I love how like they're doing like the little roll call of the helmets. Like, well, okay, this one's underwater. We can breathe underwater. Like, yeah, sure. And this one gives scabies to everybody. And then you got sonic boom, the human torpedo. Yeah, these helmets are really become a really fun part of the show. Scott, what do you think of the opening?
Oh, just the fart thing was amazing. And like when they get serious, Vigilante gets pissed off. He's like, I was having a great time with my best friend Peacemaker and my fake best friend Adebayo, because like it feels like he feels that she's betrayed him as well. And it's like, we have some levity to like some serious stuff, and they talk about stop blaming yourself for your brother's death. I did love how like Eagly dropped it, and it led to like there's a bunch of like since there's not much talking in this episode, we don't have that many good quotes, but we still have some great ones in my opinion. Where when Eagly dropped the helmet, Vigilante goes, Peacemaker is a great guy in almost every way, but his biggest flaw is that he commonly overestimates Eagly's abilities. Just so dumb, like. And I remember Hardcore was like, this shit's not going to work. And then you see her thinking like, oh my God, it works. Nope. He drops it in like the middle of the fucking woods. It was awesome.
Yeah. And talking shit about Green Arrow as well. Also.
Yes. And he's like, do you believe everything you read on the internet about superheroes? He goes, of course.
And I heard Stephen Amell actually has a comeback to him too. And it's pretty funny. So the team decides to fan out to find the aforementioned Sonic Boom helmet. While alone, Peacemaker is accosted by none other than his father, Augie. Peacemaker killed the Patriarch in the previous episode when he was dressed as his alter ego, White Dragon, tried to kill him first. It's clear that he is struggling with his guilt over the death of his father because Augie taunts him mercilessly, saying that he will always control him, even from beyond the grave. Peacemaker kills his father once more, and the ghost falls to the ground, revealing the helmet they were all searching for. So, yeah, this is kind of messed up that even in death, he's tormenting him. Shawn, what do you make of this part?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is going to torment him. He killed his father, and his father's a big part of his life, for wrong or indifferent. But, what I did like about this is that in that moment, he's batshit crazy. And even Harcourt's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And he shoots this tranquilizer into the tree. And I think what this was really a moment to where, we brought the father back for a moment and he struggled with it. But I think ultimately it was in that moment was for us to get to the helmet because he finds the helmet in that moment. But another powerful scene, I thought, that kind of leads to where he wanted to go. And I'm sure this will be a thing with Cena where his father is always going to be a part of him in some form or fashion, as we'll see at the end of this episode as well. So,
yeah, kind of a little bit of a American Werewolf in London vibe there.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, what do you think of this little part here?
Yeah, Shawn hit the nail right on its head. Like, we think like Cena's doing okay, but obviously something's off because Hardcore seems really concerned, because Cena even knows if I shoot my gun, it will alert the butterflies where I'm at. So he uses his dart gun. So it's like he knows this shouldn't be real, but he's still going along with it, which is a real big concern that we'll probably see more in season 2 of.
Mm-hmm. Tim?
I just want to say I fucking hate the trope of ghost dads in shows like this, which it's not even necessarily a dad character, but a lot of times it is. Anytime you take a dead character and just bring them back as either a ghost or a mental projection that a living character is talking to, which happened a lot, like in a lot of like early 2000s dramas and shit. Like, you look at Dexter, you look at, even Rescue Me, just so many fucking shows. Bloodline on Netflix was a show I liked so much, but they were real guilty of this. I just think it's such a lazy trope and something that is just way overdone. And they act like it's a normal thing that like happens in life, that people have full on conversations with their dead relatives all the time. Like, it's just, you're getting ready to go to the store or go to work or something, and you're just having a straight up conversation with your dead dad in the passenger seat next to you. And it's just, I hate it. I fucking hate it every time. And it's the one thing that if I could say no filmmaker, showrunner, writer, anyone could ever do again, it's this. That said, this is a show that has already gotten across, has already established that Chris Smith is a pretty nutso fucked up dude. So if anyone's going to talk to ghosts, it's probably this guy. And Augie has been established as such a strong presence while he was alive in the series. You know, you kind of want to keep him around, at least as a performer. It's good enough. It's done well enough that I can kind of buy into it. And most importantly, I get the sense that this is the type of series that's pretty self-aware enough to know that it's a dumb, bad trope, and is probably going to deconstruct it going forward. Like if we're going to continue to see this in like a season 2, they're probably going to pick it apart and really make fun of it. And you know, we're already seeing glimpses of that here in this episode. I feel like.
Yeah, we just also had a fun debate between Economos and Vigilante whether fish or ants are more important to the Earth circle of life. So yeah, lots of and the things that Peacemaker and his father call each other between fuck nuggets and all this other shit. Yeah, it's quite the exchange they have there. But now that
we're
they
not
have
exactly playing this straight, are we?
Yeah. Now that they have the helmet, team leader Amelia Harcourt says it's up to Economos to take it to a place as close to the cow as possible because the butterflies haven't seen his face. Economos, despite his concerns, proves to be a real trooper as he heads to the barn with the weapon while pretending to be a butterfly, one of the larger cops that they had taken over. He manages to hold his own even while he is stopped by a possessed Detective Fitzsimmons. When he sees the humongous cow, he panics and leaves the helmet behind. As Economos tries to make a break for it, he's accosted once again by Fitzgibbon, who tries to discern whether he too is possessed by a butterfly by asking why his beard is colored the way it is. Economos forced to admit that he does dye his beard in a bid to look younger, saying that he didn't think anyone would have noticed until Peacemaker made so much fun of him over it. While the story does persuade Fitzgibbon enough to let him go, one of the butterflies discovers the helmet and they all start attacking him. So Economos, gets some shine here, and we get a little payoff, so to speak, on the whole dye beard from earlier in the season. Scott, what did you think of it?
They actually, this was a really good part of the show because you realize Economos has been like the man in the, steal a line from the new Spider-Man movies, like the man in the chair the whole time. And the only person who would have seen him was Judo Master when we thought that he was beating him to death in the first or second episode. So this is great. And then, we've seen him been made fun of the whole time, but Economos gives a heartbreaking speech. He's like, I've never had a girlfriend. I never had any friends. I didn't think anyone would notice that I was dyeing my beard, but that I get the cheapest one, and it's just heartbreaking. And everyone's just all sad with everything going on. And then when, the butterflies take advantage of it, Abayo is supposed to be the person that shoots off the helmet, but she drops her radio. Did you guys think she was still a mole at the time? She was fucking up on purpose? She does they were definitely, it seemed like they were leaving, breadcrumbs, she loses one of the helmets, and then she fucks up, and I thought Economos was a goner right there. Was I the only one that was thinking that, or am I just thinking too much into it?
No, I didn't think that. I mean, it didn't occur to me at all, no.
Well, fuck me. So
we weren't saying it like that.
I didn't mean
just go fuck yourself.
You just asked a question and I just responded. But no need to fuck yourself. You're okay.
We missed the line also. Harcourt calls him Schwartz and never calls people.
Yes.
God damn it. All right, Tim.
Another great thing about this show is that it can take what starts as just kind of a gag or something that was done for comedy relief from earlier episodes and says, okay, this is not only going to be a callback, but we're going to actually turn this into an emotionally resonant scene of this man revealing his inner pain that just goes on and on and on.
After he
You're
puked in the barn.
yeah. You're like, well, goddamn. So Economos gets his little moment. So everybody gets a little bit of shine in this episode, which is what you want from a great finale, and I guess that's my ultimate takeaway from this segment.
Yeah, and he's got to take the stairs and not the elevator. Poor Economos.
Yeah, right.
Sean?
Yeah, I mean, kind of a sad thing with Economos, and he kind of just lets things out. What I really, really like is, about the dyed beard. And this is where it shows how the connection has grown for these folks and how they actually mean something to each other. He said, I didn't think anyone noticed until he basically said someone made so much fun of it that they noticed, which to him, even though he's being made fun of, it meant something to him that somebody actually recognized something about him, which, and then you see Chris's face as he's saying this and that realization that, these people have bonded and they're closer than they realize. And again, just great character development by James Gunn that just makes you care about these people even more. He's just so freaking good at this. But yeah, good stuff. Just continued good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think any of us would like if we saw that thing would not do similar to kind of almost like, oh, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. I can't. This thing is just it's too fucking big.
Yeah.
No more, and he calls it a kaiju. Also, he's like, no more kaijus. I guess after seeing a giant starfish taking over people, what is it with these creatures taking over people, basically killing them and taking over the control of their bodies?
I don't know. I think I'd rather have the butterflies than the starfish on my face. I think I'd take that over that.
Yeah. All right. So Economos is then surrounded by butterflies, all vying to take over his body. But luckily, Adebayo manages to activate the helmet sonic boom to destroy the barn and trap the cow in its underground cavern. Now it's time for Peacemaker, Hardcore, Vigilante to make their move, fighting off the alien creatures using an array of weapons. And I love the fact that they have the theme song, Do You Want to Taste It, playing here. That popped me so big time. While things seem to be going well at first, Hardcore and Vigilante both get felled by their enemies and fall to the ground. Even though Peacemaker heads down to the cow, he gets trapped. Yeah, when Hardcore goes down, my girlfriend she thought, I'm like, no, I'm like, it was so you just get so drawn into this part of the episode. The bio watching from the sidelines, Economos decides to do something about this and makes her mother proud by going out into the field and shooting down the remaining butterflies. She even stops to pull one of the alien creatures from possessing Hardcore by pulling it out of her mouth before taking Peacemaker's human torpedo helmet and heading down to help him stop the cow. Adebayo tries to uncover Peacemaker, but Detective Song, a.k.a. the Butterfly Goff, gets there first. Goff reveals to Peacemaker the truth behind the Butterfly's invasion, saying that they want to save humanity from destroying the Earth like they did to their planet. She then asks Peacemaker to join their cause, but instead he kills the cow. So a lot happening here. Great action sequence. It gets you on the edge of the seat because you're like, oh my God, you're worried about are they going to kill off Hardcore? Are they going to kill off Vigilante? And that scene with the butterfly, I bit. I thought, oh fuck, Hardcore's going to be a butterfly now, and Adebayo to the rescue. So Tim, you're up for this part of the episode.
Okay, so it's kind of our big raging climax here. Hardcore now, this is her moment to shine. Looking pretty good in the field. Adebayo as well, just running through, shooting everybody, just double fisting it. Okay, so I did not bite on the Hardcore, possible death scene, only because I had gotten spoiled the day after this fucking finale premiered. So we're talking early,
Friday?
Not even the day after, early Wednesday morning or Thursday morning.
Wow.
So I was just on YouTube, not even looking for anything in particular. I just opened YouTube, and it just floated right across my recommendations, thumbnail, and description of basically this scene, and with something else as well. So pretty pissed about that. Just goes to show you really can't do anything on the internet when it comes to shows like these. And I am not the type of person who is normally precious about spoilers, even when it comes to things I'm really into, but this one especially pissed me off. Goes to show how invested in this series I've become.
Well, it's also the timing of it too.
The timing of it definitely pissed me off.
Give people a chance to do it.
Yeah, not even a day. Not a day, not a week, not a day, hours.
Yeah, I've been pissed off at two of my friends. One spoiled something for Boba. The other one spoiled something for this. Like, I had watched it. Thankfully, I had watched this already when they had spoiled it. But I messaged him. I said, "You're a dick." Basically, like, the damn thing went up like 7 hours ago, and already you're posting a spoiler. Yeah, people suck.
Stupid fucking idiots. Anyway,
dumb baby shit.
Yeah. So I did not and could not bite on that. The human, what's it called? The human tornado, human torpedo helmet is hysterical. I got my Sonic Blast helmet back into play, so that made me very happy. And what I love the most about how it was used here is they just basically spammed it over and over, which is exactly what you would do in a situation like this, right? If you're one of these people, you just be like, yeah, activate Sonic Blast. Okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. Do it as many times as I can until it stops working. And so that was awesome to see. And it's just so what they don't do. They always find some reason not to do the logical thing that any person would do in a situation like this when it comes to these shows. So I love that they avoided that. I have to say that I kind of, maybe this says more about who I am as a person, but the grand plan, the grand design of the butterflies to basically save us from ourselves because we're destroying our planet, I'm kind of on board with them. I just want to go ahead and let them do what they're going to do, because they're actually able to get in positions of power, right, and affect real change. And certainly we've demonstrated in our grand incompetence over the span of decades and decades that as human beings, we're not going to be able to accomplish it. I mean, we're fucking trash, and pretty much there's a ticking clock hanging over our heads nowadays. So if somebody else came in and just said, we're going to take responsibility for this, for you, because you can't do it, then I think that's what we need, because we're a people of dumb fucking babies, and need to be coddled and taken care of. So I kind of disagreed with the overall decision to stop them at the end of the day. So I guess I am a supervillain, or sympathetic to the supervillains. But once again, the human torpedo, a lot of bio getting launched into that fucking cow was so hysterical. Oh, and I'm sorry, the theme song playing during, God, there's so much in this. They really blew through a lot of action in this last little bit here. Yeah, the theme song playing during the big shootout, that it's something that all great shows should do when they realize they have a kick-ass theme song, is to play it when they're doing when they have a really kick-ass action scene in one of their episodes. You have to do it sparingly. You can't do it all the time. But this is certainly what the kids call an earned moment here, with that theme kicking in.
Yeah. Some a lot of gnarly kills too in this, with the knives and guns, and Peacemaker does something Cap never did that we saw, was he shoots his shield into somebody and kills him. Basically, he shows his shield, shoots it with a gun, and the fact that they when Hardcore goes down, they slow down the song. And kind of mimicking her life force kind of starting to go away. Shawn, what do you think of this? This is probably one of the best sequences we've seen in any of these streaming shows so far. These nerds superhero type things. So break it down.
They do this. Before I said my favorite moment of the show was that alien invasion with the song played in the background of the police station. Well, guess what? They just managed a trumpet on this one. This whole scene with the theme song playing and them just going to town on these things and the shield. And I was like, you know what? Fuck Captain America. Give me Peacemaker with a shield. I was dying. just chopping heads off, chopping limbs off. This was just absolutely fantastic. I did not bite on the hardcore, but I also knew that somehow this is going to play into her and Chris that we'll see after the rest of this. But Amadeo, the human torpedo, just freaking flying into it and then freaking just falling out with all the blood gushing all over was just absolutely fantastic. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about in this is Goff trying to, kind of trying to make Chris understand why. So ultimately, again, this is one of those scenarios I've said before. Ultimately, the best villain believes in what they're doing is right. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to save the planet, and Goff thinks they're doing the right thing. What I absolutely loved about it is she appeals to Chris to, hey, join us, blah, blah, blah. She's like, what do you think? He doesn't even hesitate. He just freaking pulls that gun and just shoots her. So, again, this is the second freaking time that Chris, in 2 episodes, is just freaking out of the blue, just made a decision and just said, you know what, fuck you. Boom, you're gone. And, just a great action sequence, great music, great kill the bug, kill Goff, Harcourt goes down, just absolutely great stuff.
Yeah. Economos trips and breaks his leg.
Yeah.
Still delivers the helmet to Adebayo.
Yeah.
So lots of great stuff. Scott, you're up.
Yeah, you took the thing I was going to talk about. Economos can't literally get out of his own fucking way and has a compound fracture. And this is why we find out that Judo Master joined with the Butterflies, as they were able to convince him. Which I really thought that Peacemaker was going to join with them, and be like Tim said, we have been fucking up. Maybe we do need someone telling us what to do. But Vigilante and Hardcore, we see some more of them just whooping ass, and my boy Vigilante goes down yet again. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. I did bite on the Hardcore death, even though I knew that she is in a couple more of the DC movies coming out, but we don't know what the hell the timeline is. So maybe, this was beforehand, but just an awesome scene. I loved Adebayo doing the
torpedo.
The torpedo the first time, and she fucks herself up, and Cena and I want to say Grop, but I know that's not it.
Goff.
And Goff the butterfly run past her. She's all there, and then he's torpedo launch, and you see her just shoot right through it, and she's all covered with blood. But one thing you notice is that Cena did not shoot Goff in the head to kill the butterfly. He shot her in the stomach, and that's very important for later on. So he obviously did feel something for Goff to not straight up kill her right then and there.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. She had a bio in the torpedo helmet is pretty ridiculous. They also give you a little swerve too, because when Peacemaker gets pulled out of the rubble, you think it's going to be out of bio, but it's really Goff that pulls him out. So yeah, this is just. I mean, I was gushing off mic about Schitt's Creek, and this is just one of those things. Just watch how to tell a story, and just how to masterfully, lead people emotionally. Yeah, it's James Gunn is just so good with this stuff. So Peacemaker and Adebayo head back after defeating Goff, the Butterflies, and the Cow, with the supervillain carrying an injured Harcourt in his arms. It's then when the fight is over that some familiar DC heroes show up: Superman, Aquaman, the Flash, and Wonder Woman. At first, all is visible is their outline because they're bathed in the shadows, but it's revealed that both Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller are in fact reprising their roles as Aquaman and the Flash, respectively. Peacemaker tells them they're too late to help and tells Aquaman to go fuck a fish. Which the hero tells the Flash is a rumor he hates, even if the speedster believes it too. Superman and Wonder Woman remain in the shadow, even as Momoa and Miller are visible, but the cameo is still welcome nonetheless. Yeah, I don't think Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot are there. So I popped big time because I had heard there was a cameo, had no idea who it was going to be. So thankfully it didn't get spoiled. But Sean, what do you think of this part?
So we've done a lot of these shows, the Marvel shows, et cetera, and we're always talking about surprises and things. I did not see this one coming anywhere near the vicinity of this finale. And what I also like is that it ties back to a joke that Peacemaker brought up earlier about Aquaman. So again, another long-standing thing in this show, which is great. When they did the visuals on them coming down, it's like, okay, they're just going to show them in the shade. But when they actually showed Flash and Aquaman, I popped so hard. And then to freaking get the joke around fucking the fish, and then Flash goes, well, that's not a rumor. And Aquaman saying, fuck you, Barry. That was just unbelievably so great. And again, just James Gunn brings it again. Like, I did not see this one coming whatsoever. And I was 100% on board with it. Just great shit here.
Mm-hmm. Scott?
No, I agree 100%. This is something we'll never see in the MCU, is one of the leading characters. This would be like if Black Panther said fuck you to, Captain America or something. It's like, fuck you, Barry. And it's so funny. Cena's ripping the Justice League a new asshole, deservedly so. It's like, where the fuck have you been? As he's carrying Harcourt, who I thought was dead at the time. And like, then we have that great little thing where it's like, it's true, you do fuck fishes. And I just loved it. I thought this is what Tim got spoiled on. Was like the Justice League, Shawn.
This was the main
okay.
thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was just the fact that Harcourt was in that scene. Like, he was, the Peacemaker was carrying her, and it was like I think it was titled something like Peacemaker saves Harcourt, Justice League cameo. This is like the most spoiler thing he could have possibly. Yeah, it was just like, fuck, what the fuck, So yeah, that was the big one.
All right. Well, Tim, what did you think of the scene when you did actually see it?
Yeah, so I guess I thought this was going to be, the reason I was so mad is as I thought it was going to be like a bigger moment in the episode than it ultimately is, which is just like a quick cameo. Like, they show up when the work has already been done, right? So the point of it is they showed up, like an hour too late, basically, and it's just there so that Peacemaker can say, hey, we already did your dirty work, essentially, go mop up. And on that level, I think it works pretty well. I would have been bothered if this was a scene of the Justice League actually coming in to save the day. Like, it's just with no build up whatsoever, other than Adebayo being on the phone with her mom saying, hey, send the Justice League. Like, this is not the type of show that you do that with. And, I probably should have had more confidence that they wouldn't, but there's still that little lingering doubt, because at the end of the day, it's still a DCEU property. So you never know if they're going to really stick the landing. But I'm glad they didn't really overindulge in that Justice League appearance. We really just get the quick exchange between Flash and Aquaman, and that's all we needed. I like knowing that these characters exist in the shared universe, but I certainly don't need to see them all the time. And this show knows it doesn't have to go there. Like, it has the confidence in its own characters and its own storytelling that it doesn't have to lean on all of these cameos and guest appearances and multiverse nonsense and all the gimmicks, right? They can just tell a good story and know that that's going to be enough for their audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it stays on brand though with the established personality of Aquaman and Flash too. So it wasn't like kind of out of the ordinary. But we always say that, like, where the hell was the Avengers during this? Where was that? So they kind of like recognize that, and they use it as a funny scene. So
yeah.
All right, what the hell was that? My dog made a noise. So the episode ends. Yeah, like Toby also was like, I'm like, what the fuck? Freaks you out like midnight, sitting in the living room by yourself, or so you thought. So the episode ends by tying up loose ends, setting the stage for season 2, with Adebayo revealing the truth to the world about what she, Peacemaker, and the team have been doing, also detailing her mother's Suicide Squad missions. Meanwhile, Judo Master, who was on the side of the Butterflies, finds them slaughtered after the battle, teasing the possibility that he could seek revenge on Peacemaker in the future. In terms of the team, Harcourt begins her road to recovery, and Vigilante heals up well enough to enjoy blowing things up with Peacemaker again, while Economos returns to Belle Reve Penitentiary to work. The closing moments see Peacemaker at home giving Goff, the last surviving Butterfly, the last remnant of sap as they eat before Patrick's Augie sits down beside his son, showing that he will never stop haunting him. So, nice ending. Everybody, it kind of blows up the whole Suicide Squad thing, and Lord knows what Waller's next move is going to be. So it's going to have a lot of effects on the DCEU whenever we get back to it, because not sure when the next thing proper in the DCEU will happen. But Scott, what did you think of the end of the episode?
I liked how it tied up the loose ends. It if I didn't know season 2 was coming, I kind of felt that was the end of it. I enjoyed it. I did. It also gave one last great line as they're in the hospital waiting for it to get done. Peacemaker tells Adebayo, he said, "Hey, don't tell V-List, but after Eagly, you're my BFF," which just shows why he was so hurt when it found out she had planted the diary on him. So we see that. That's great. Then we see, I'm shocked. And we actually get Amanda Waller appearance. We had just seen, her on the phone before. And you see her saying when her own daughter is basically snitching on her, saying, "What the fuck?" So what's going to come with that, with Task Force X being exposed to the world? That should be interesting. We'll see if that's seen in season 2. I love we see Vigilante and Peacemaker just blowing shit up again. They haven't learned. And we see Economos getting ready to work again, but he has that picture that they took after they took down the butterflies, and they all proved themselves to each other. I can't get enough of the show. I loved it so much. It was sad to see it go. I'm probably going to watch it before season 2 comes out in a year and a half or something. But everyone, just if you're for some reason just listening to this episode, watch the whole thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it definitely has rewatchability. Yeah, Amanda Waller is somebody that you don't mess with, and even though Adebayo's her daughter, Jesus, Waller's pissed. And Tim, what did you think of the end of the episode?
I don't have much to add other than it left all the characters where I think we would want to see them once all was said and done here. We even get a quick shot of a judo master standing in the field surrounded by all the dead bodies, munching on his flaming hot Cheetos, crying his eyes out because he really believed in the cause. So I wouldn't discount a reappearance from the Nugget in a season 2. Just that really haunting final shot of Chris and Ghost Dad on the steps. We know that his issues are going to continue to haunt him, literally and figuratively here. He can't continue to run from his past and from his trauma. And I'm certain we'll continue to follow that development. And I'm so glad we're getting another season of this. I'm really satisfied with how all this came together, and it's just so nice to see a show that you love, that you're on board for throughout the duration, that really and truly does stick the landing, because I don't know why that's become such a difficult concept in today's world, but it just seems like over and over and over so often you really love something, and then the way it ends, you're like, well, why did I waste my time with that, essentially? And this was far from it. So I have been thoroughly serviced as a fan of this series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Shawn, what did you think of the end of the episode?
Another great montage with a great song, which I had to look up the song. It's not on iTunes, but it's called Apologize. And I thought it was a really good background song. This whole soundtrack to this whole freaking show is another thing that we haven't talked enough about. It is so freaking great. Harcourt, that moment with Harcourt and Chris in the hospital room was amazing. Harcourt actually shed a tear. So again, you're getting that emotional connection. What's his name when he goes back to the penitentiary? He's got a picture of all of them on his desk. The Waller stuff is great, that her daughter just totally threw under the bus and kind of blows up the Suicide Squad, which is kind of a big deal, right? So it's kind of like, that's a big, big one. And the Augie thing at the end was really, really haunting. Here's what I'm going to say about Peacemaker. So we've watched a lot of Marvel shows and superhero shows on this podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, out of everything we've watched, this might be my favorite show that we have 100% watched. Like, just for me, just from start to finish. Tim talked about sticking landings. If you talk about all the shows that we watched, none of them have really started correct or landed like in the right way. They've always been one or the other, where they started great, ended badly, or they started badly, ended greatly, or they're Boba Fett. So, in the end, this is 100% the best show I think we've ever watched. Cobra Kai is really good, but it's a different type of show. But this is by far my favorite show we've done on this podcast. So, by the way, absolutely 100% my favorite DC property, at least in the current DC universe that we've seen over the last few years. Just no doubt about it. Absolutely great.
Shawn, I'm a Marvel mark, as you know, and
so am I.
Of all the Disney Plus Marvel series, this smoked every last one of them.
100%.
Even the best Disney Plus Marvel show couldn't touch this.
Absolutely, I agree.
Pains me to say it, but it's the truth.
You and me both.
Yeah, just when
DC number one.
Okay. So first off, you get pissed off because we're not talking about Green Lantern. So just move on.
Fucking fanboys, mocks.
God damn, Mark.
I tell you. So upcoming, let's see what we have. So The Batman is coming, but that is not part of the DCEU. But what is Black Adam, that comes at the end of July. Then we have the Flash movie in November, Aquaman: Lost Kingdom in December, and then I'm not sure if Batgirl, the Sandman, is Titans in this? Is Titans in this universe as well? I mean,
go ahead.
Also, a big thing with this is we don't know what's going to happen with the Flash movie, especially if they do the Flashpoint storyline, which will rewrite, whatever we got. And supposedly the Batman takes place on Earth 1 or Earth 2, I believe, and we're Earth 1.
I just talked about how much I love this DC show. Now you're ruining it.
Now I want to kill myself.
Now I want to.
Yeah, because let's not talk about
all that stupid bullshit.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods coming next year.
Great! Yeah, Yahoo!
All right, so we don't know what we're going to be covering DC-wise next, but we do know we'll be covering Moon Knight starting in about a month, and March 30th, I believe, is when it drops. So really excited about that. Looking forward to that. Guys, much earned a little vacation here for everybody. We may drop some little specials here, but it was a tremendous ride. Thoroughly enjoyed the show, and really even more so enjoyed talking with you guys each week. But before we go, once again, let's do some plugs since we are at the end of a season/series. So we'll start with Shawn. Shawn, what do you got to direct people to?
On Twitter at NWA Crack and Roll, on podcasts, on all the typical podcasts I'm usually on, just more sporadic. The one that I will pimp, because all of us on this show have been on one or the other, and I'm going to have one coming up, and Andy's going to host one, is Pedestal over on the wrestling feed, where we look at the greatest perceived matches of all time and really see if they stand up to time on the pedestal that they're put on. So that'll be the one I pimp right now, Andy.
All right. Scott?
Yeah, I'm going to pimp Crock and Roll. It's on the wrestling feed. We're doing I joined it. It's Sean's podcast, but I joined the panel this past year, and we've been on March of '86 in Crockett, and it is an amazing time. Be sure to check it out. We just got with the announcement of the Crockett tournament in New Orleans. That's been a lot of fun, and I can be found on Twitter at Scott_Shifflett.
All right, Tim.
I am just going to encourage people to subscribe to this podcast network, Place View Nation Pop Experience, if they are not already. And if they like what they're hearing here on Place View Nation Pop and just can't get enough, then it is part of the quad of pods that bring a full, well-rounded experience for all your podcasting needs. If you're a big wrestling fan, we've got our sister network. It's called Place to Be Nation Wrestling, where I do a couple of shows over there, which is just a bevy of great wrestling content. We have the North-South Connection, which is a combination of pop culture and wrestling stuff. And finally, there's the Jenny Position, which is mostly pop culture-centric movies, television, life, whatever you want to call it, curated by our dear friend Jennifer Smith. Find me as well on Twitter. I am at Cyke68, CYKE68 on Twitter. If you want to get in touch and chat about Peacemaker or wrestling or any other podcasts I do, or podcasts, if you got an interest in something and wondering where to find it, get in touch on Twitter.
All right. Also, for me, I'm here on the Pop Experience. I do appear on the Wrestling Network, as Shawn did allude to. I'll be on Pedestal soon. Maybe Wrestling Great Debate may come back. The quarterly show Evolution has the next few guests lined up, so those will start recording soon. And here, just check me out with all my, I talk about what I want to talk about, things I love, things I'm passionate about. That includes the Muppets, Disney movies. I'm going to be doing a cartoon pod very soon, Year in Pop, which I love, breaking down years. And it's kind of I have a lot of dorky sides to me. That's another one of my dorky sides. I love retrospectives, kind of goes in hand with my day job. Lots of great stuff. Join the Place to Be Facebook group. We have lots of great discussions. We do fun tournaments. And also go to PlaceToBeNation.com each and every day. That is where the Quad Pods are all featured. So if you don't see all the subscribe to all the feeds through the Podbean, they will be on that very feed, including some great articles as well. So keep an eye out for that. So I want to thank these guys for another great season, another great run. Peacemaker kind of came out of nowhere, so to speak, and really delivered beyond any expectations we could have going into it. And so coming up next, we will be covering Moon Knight. So look for us in about a month's time from now. So for Shawn Kidd, Scott Shifflett, and Tim Capel, I'm Andy Atherton. Thank you for joining us on Pop Goes to the Couch. We'll check you out for Moon Knight. Take care.